everyone, welcome back to my channel Let's Go English. I'm Aurithri and in this video I'm going to talk about books and some more books. Somebody said losing yourself in a great novel is one of life's most dependable joys. Do you agree with that? Do let me know in the comment section below. Now, job satisfaction comes and goes. Partners enrapture and abscond. But you can always fall back on a good book because literature has this uncanny ability to transport you to a different world. Reading books gives so much pleasure. It also lowers your stress level and makes your hair look fuller and thicker. Jokes apart, reading books gives us a very comprehensive understanding of the past and also helps us delve deep into the endless possibilities of our future. So in this video, I have put together some of the greatest books of all times that you must read before you die. Now, this is ridiculously subjective because it varies from person to person, but according to me, I think the books that I have chosen for this video are really enjoyable and pleasurable to read and depend upon. You can go back to these books again and again. You can read them again and again, and you can derive as much pleasure as you had derived the very first time. So let's get started. Recommendations list is this one. I'm sure you must have heard about Anne Frank and her famous diary. Now, this diary is nothing but a recollection of what exactly happened during the horrific, tragic phase of the World War II. Now, Annie happened to be a very happy-go-lucky, cheerful girl. She had dreams and she was a believer. She had her own set of principles and ideologies. And this diary is nothing but a narrative of her hiding from the Nazis in an office annex. This book tells us how her entire life turned upside down in a flash. She was taken to the concentration camp where her life is cut short by this horrendous atmosphere of the camp. I'm not going to reveal what happens to her. Please go ahead and read it on your own. You will find it on Amazon. You can read it online. You'll get some very good audio books on YouTube. You can also purchase it online. But it's a very strong recommendation from my side to read this book. This book gives us a very valuable insight into the social dynamics during this particular time. And it teaches us a very important lesson that war, irrespective of its beliefs and ideologies, is nothing but a curse on humanity. And war is not a romantic illusion. We should never glorify war. So this is one of the masterpieces of literature which will be read by generations to come. And it is one of those rare books which I believe should be handed on to the next generation. So I absolutely loved reading it. I read it when I was in middle school. When we had to do a project on the Holocaust, and it left a deep cavity in my heart and soul. And this book was a total life changer for me. It gave me one of life's most beautiful quote, which is, so the next book is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. You should definitely read this. I had read it when I was in high school, and the final push came from my teacher, who actually had a great love for reading. And I'm so very grateful to her for giving me this push. After having read this book, it made me think and ponder on so many things about life. This book is a building stone because it follows the moral development of a child's psyche, and it also deals with the tragedies of racial inequality. Black Lives Matter is one of the most important themes of this book, and not only does it deal with racial prejudices, but at the same time it talks about how a child tries to grow and develop and tries to fit into a society. It tells us about a child's, an adolescent's sense of emotional, physical, psychological changes that they undergo as they step into their teenage years. This book made me laugh on several occasions. It made me reminisce about my own childhood, about my own adolescence period, and at the same time, it made me cringe to tears. So it has won the Pulitzer Prize, I've told you already. So you should definitely watch it. It's a masterpiece. And uh, what attracted me the most about this book was its title. I was very much inquisitive about trying to comprehend the meaning of it in a bigger perspective. So it has become a legacy. And I really don't know why Harper Lee did not write anything after this, but it stands the test of time. It has timeless themes to explore: racism, sense of identity loss, greed, happiness, joys, something which will never really become obsolete. It's timeless, it still has its relevance. So, yeah, please go ahead and read it and let me know how you feel about the book. The next one on my list is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. It's my favorite. It's my absolute favorite. I had read it when I was in my grads. So our English teacher came into the classroom and she handed over this book. And we were supposed to take this open book examination. She gave us 2 weeks time to read this. We were like, why not Stephen King? But she was a teacher and her word was a law. But I tell you, a few pages in, and I was gone. I was literally blown away. I went further and further away from reality. It was so good. I was hooked, I was intrigued, I was inquisitive as to what would happen. I was not into this reality anymore. It revolves around two characters, and Emily Bronte has painted these characters without any makeup. They are raw, they are monstrous at times, yet fantastically memorable. They love each other so much, but it's not a lovely love, it's not a cozy love. It's weird, it's fierce, it's overwhelming, it's destructive. Because they love each other, yet they love to see each other suffer as well. Have you heard of this kind of a love ever? This totally changed my perception towards love altogether. And Wuthering Heights, I after reading this novel, I felt so nostalgic, and it gave me a sense of homesickness. You have that feeling of weird homesickness for a home that you have never visited, for a home that was never really yours. So it really happened to mine. I was totally unsettled, I was unhappy, I was appalled rather to read this, because Wuthering Heights is not those fuzzy and warm, cozy homes. It was wild, it was fierce, it was untamed. You had those moors, you had those towering caps, you had those grey, melancholy skies, you had the dark and gloomy night, you had the wind sighing in the fir trees. It's amazing. It's replete with imagery. It's a literary read, actually. You should read it in order to get a taste for literature. And before you die, you should definitely read this. So that's my third recommendations, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. So the next one on my recommendations list is this one, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Now this is for the free thinkers, actually. If you're seeking meaning and purpose in life, you should definitely read it. This is not a frivolous tale for seeking pleasure only. It's a serious feminist read. It's set during the time when the government has been overthrown and a new religious sect has created a new social order based on fear. And women, particularly, have no longer the right to read, to work, earn money. They are valued only for their ability to reproduce. So it's an amazing read, actually. I strongly recommend you to listen to the audio version by Claire's narration. It's very intense, and Margaret Atwood, she literally blew my mind away with such fantastic choice of wordplay and her intelligence of observations. This book will only make you think and think and think. So before you die, do read this book. The next one on my recommendations list is this one, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by our very beloved Roald Dahl. It's very amusing that I'm actually recommending you to read something that I had read some 25 years back. It is one of my favorite children's classics. Harry Potter may be famous, but Willy Wonka is even weirder. From this overwhelming sense of poverty suffered by Charles and his family, to how he meets these selfish, spoiled, braggish kids on his trip, and then finally he makes a tour to Willy Wonka's fantastical, magical candy-making chocolate factory. It's nothing but it's a startling work of fantasy and great ideas. It's relevant even today, and it's a well-crafted prose. So Roald Dahl is always our favorite. Please go ahead and read it. The next book on my recommendations list is this one, Animal Farm by George Orwell. It's an amazing book, I tell you. If you're interested in history, if you want to know history better, you should read it. It is an allegory and it metaphorically portrays the Russian Revolution. Animal Farm here symbolizes Russia itself and the aftermath of the Russian Revolution. And it's written from the perspective of animals. Animals speak here, and these animals are nothing but humans. They represent humans. And these animals are, in fact, the important characters who played dominant roles in the Russian Revolution. So there was this farmland where this herd of animals stayed, and they are starving always. They are not taken care of properly, and the owner is merciless, cruel owner. So it's about how suddenly one pig, an old boar, he becomes revolutionary and he starts inspiring uh, his herd, and they all start becoming rebels. Okay, so it's like there are communist pigs hiding in each and every page. So it's an amazing book. You should read it. You will definitely love it. The last book on my recommendations list for the video today is this one, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Can I give this book an infinite stars? Though some infinities are bigger than other infinities. This is hands down my favorite book of all time. It's so emotional. It has an engaging plot. It centers around two characters, Augustus and Hazel, who are who are so much in love with each other. It's a different kind of a love story. It teaches you to be romantic. They knew that they were ill, they were going to die, but in spite of knowing that, they started learning to live in the present moment. Uh, it's an epitome of love and strength of character, I would say. I fell in love with the character of Augustus. He is bold, he's caring, he minutely observes the world around, and he sees beauty in everything, despite the fact that he has just one leg. So his character was truly appealing, and I'm still in love with Augustus. And so I would definitely recommend you to go ahead, read this book, not because it has a good plot or it's emotional, but because it's a beautiful story. It has a beautiful story with beautiful writing, and you get so very much emotionally invested in this book that when the character cries, you cry too along. So I would give it a 10 upon 10 for this. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the list that I've compiled today for you would be helpful and you will be able to enjoy each and every book, because I believe these are one of those rare books which should be read in your lifetime. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to get notified. Then hit that bell icon, press the like button, and do comment in the comment section below. Take care.